Hello everyone, my name is Reese and welcome to my channel. The literature major in The Sims 2 University. A world where poetry is judged by its syllable count, Shakespearean English is a survival skill, and you might just find yourself analyzing the girl from Nantucket. So, with class names that sounds like a mix of satire and a caffeine-fueled professor's inside jokes, this major is one wild ride. So let's take a dive into the literature major in The Sims 2 University. So when your sim starts university and picks the literature major, the first class of freshman year is called How to Judge a Book by Its Cover. So the sentence, I guess, is a reference to several things in literature. So the phrase, "don't judge a book by its cover," is a well-known saying that advises against making superficial judgments. But this title just suggests doing the opposite. It could also be a reference to book design and marketing, because it could refer to how cover art, like typography and design, influences a reader's perceptions of a book before they even open it. So when you're standing in the library or in the bookstore, the cover of the book actually does matter. The name could also be a satire on how people often make assumptions about genres, themes, and quality based on a book's appearance rather than its contents. And in the same category, it could also hint at how publishers strategically design covers to attract a certain audience, such as romance novels with a specific color scheme, or thrillers with dark, moody imagery. So there is definitely some hints here to the publishing industry trends, to literary criticism, and well-known phrases. And when your sim reaches the second semester of freshman year, the title of the class is called Haiku, Form over Function. So this is a reference to the rigid structure of haiku poetry, emphasizing form, the 5-7-5 syllable rule, over function, which I guess here means a deeper meaning or storytelling. So there is a few possible interpretations. I think the first one is the traditional structure of haiku, because this kind of poetry is often more about adhering to a set of forms rather than focusing on narrative, complexity, or deep analysis. So some might argue that strict adherence to structure can sometimes overshadow the actual meaning of the poetry. I guess the class name is also a critique on formalism in poetry, because the phrase might be poking fun at how literary traditions sometimes prioritize structure over substance. And that could apply to haiku specifically, or to some poetry in general. I'm thinking sonnets here. And I guess it could also be a joke about bad haiku poetry, because many amateur haiku writers could maybe be thought to focus only on counting syllables, leading to technically correct but meaningless poems. So this title could be a reference to a common mistake when trying to write a poem needing a certain form. So now your sim has reached the sophomore year, and the first semester is a class called Words Ending with "eth", a Shakespearean study. So this is a humorous reference to the way early modern English, especially in Shakespeare's works, often use verb endings like "eth". For example, giveth, taketh, speaketh. It could also be a take on outdated language, because it could be mocking how some people assume that all Shakespearean English sounds overly formal or archaic, even though many words we use today originated from this writing. Last but not least, it could also be a hint at linguistic evolution in English, because the title might refer to the gradual disappearance of the eth verb endings in favor of the s, so giveth became gives, which was already happening in Shakespeare's own time. And when your sim reached the second semester, the class is called The Girl from Nantucket and Other Famous Limericks. So the sentence is, I guess, almost certainly a reference to the well-known limerick that begins with "There once was a man from Nantucket," and that has inspired countless variations, often humorous or even bawdy. So I'm guessing that this name of the class could suggest an academic or comedic look at famous Limericks, which are 5-line poems with a distinctive A-A-B-B-A rhythm scheme. It could also be a reference to Limerick's reputation, because many versions of The Man from Nantucket are Risk, to put it that way. So this title might humorously suggest a similarly cheeky literary study. And it could also be poking fun at the idea of studying Limericks in a formal university setting, treating a silly poetic form with scholarly seriousness. But now your sim is getting even closer to actually graduating. Now your sim is a junior, and the first semester class is called Iambic Pentameter. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. So, this is a clear reference to Iambic pentameters, the most famous metrical pattern in English poetry, especially in Shakespeare's works. So many of Shakespeare's plays and sonnets are written in Iambic pentameter, a rhythm where each line consists of 5 iambs, which is a metrical foot with an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable. So you hear it like da, dum, right? And if we're really going to go nerdy on this, if we take a look at Shakespeare's sonnet 18, we can quote, "Shall I compare thee to a summer day?" I'm really trying here. And beyond Shakespeare, many other poets have also used the Iambic pentameter extensively. But again, I think the title of the class might just be a humorous way to teach students how Iambic pentameter sounds, reducing it to just a simple da-dum rhythm, which is often how it's introduced in literature classes. And frankly, that was also how I learned it when I was in school. But it doesn't end there, because there's also a second semester to the junior year, and the class here is called Understanding C.London's Complete Works. Good luck, kid. So I think this is most likely a humorous reference to Jack London, the famous American writer, known for adventure novels like The Call of the Wild and White Fang. His works often explore survival, nature's brutality, and human perseverance, making them intense and sometimes difficult to read, hence the good luck kid part. These books are about the harsh realities of nature and survival, often featuring tough and unforgiving worlds, and that resilience is something that tackling an entire literary collection might also need. But I think that resilience is what this class actually is about, because diving into Jack London's full bibliography is no small feat, and his books itself is also about strength and resilience. But now your sim is really getting closer to graduating. Your sim has reached senior year, first semester. And here the class is called Using Bizarre Metaphors. Life is feeding baked Alaska to zombies. And I think this is a humorous reference to over-the-top or metaphors that doesn't make any sense in literature. Some writers might tend to use exaggerated or surreal imagery to make a point. And in the pun, we also have a few references to The Sims itself, where you can make baked Alaska in your kitchen, or you can have zombies when your sim has died. If we really want to go deep on this one, I think it could also be a commentary to contrasts in metaphors, because baked Alaska is a dessert that's both hot and cold at the same time. You have ice cream inside, and you are flambeing it on the outside, while zombies are mindless and probably wouldn't care about fancy food. They are also contrasting being an alive dead. So this could symbolize the absurdity of using metaphors that doesn't connect logically, but somehow still connects in regards to contrasts. And in that way, it could also be a nod to absurdist or surrealist literature, because writers like Kafka or Adams often used bizarre, unexpected imagery to make deeper points about life. And the title, with its very barely hidden contrasts, could also be referencing this kind of literary style. But now we have it. Senior year, last semester, and the class is called Senior Project. translations from the Simlish. So obviously it's a reference to the fictional language of the Sims, which is called Simlish. And I'm guessing that it's a pun on this nonsensical language being studied in an academic way. Also, I think it could be a pun on how linguistic studies often focus on classical texts in foreign languages, and it could be a Sim-style joke about translating a language that has no actual meaning. Even though that, of course, in the game, the language has meaning. So I wonder if Simlish is a lingua franca, or if there's actually different kinds of Simlish. I guess this could be interpreted like that, or it could be interpreted that us players can actually find a way to break the code of Simlish. Because even though Simlish isn't a real language, us players often assign meaning to certain phrases based on context. I mean, for example, sultul, meaning hi or bye. So this could be a playful reference to the idea of trying to make sense of Simlish in a scholarly way. But there we have it, now you have your major. But still, you needed skills to get there. So let's take a look at the skills you need the most to get a literature major. So the first we can take a look at is a mechanical skill, because you need 4 of those. I'm guessing that it could be a reference to old school bookbinding and printing, because historically and before mass production of books, well, you needed mechanical knowledge to actually do bookbinding and to print book with presses. So the need for mechanical skills could be a quirky nod to the hands-on craft of producing books and manuscripts in the past. And students of literature might need to know how to fix or make a book, even though it's a stretch in modern academia. Another possibility is that restoring old texts or manuscripts might involve some sort of mechanical or technical work, like using special tools or repairing old books. So it could also be a metaphorical sense that you need mechanical skills, because it might refer to the idea of editing or revising literary works. Because I guess you could fix writing like you can fix a broken machine. The other skill you need is charisma, and you also need 4 of those. So I guess in modern academia, literature students often would need to present their research and to defend their theses, often participating in discussions and lectures. So charisma, of course, would be linked to communicating your ideas effectively. But that is like a general academic need, so I'm guessing it could also be a reference to like the professor persona, because many maybe stereotypically see literature students and professors as these tweed-clad, pipe-smoking persons with horn glasses and charismatic natures. And I guess that it could also be a subtle reference to how authors use their personal charm to entice their readers with their narratives. So all in all, charisma makes good sense. Another skill that you need is sport. You need 4 of those, and I guess it's an obvious reference to how writing and reading requires stamina. Because both writing and reading takes time. There's not really a quick fix to doing so, even though I guess audiobooks is the closest thing we are getting to quick fixes today. But indulging yourself in literature takes time, and you need stamina to actually be able to complete it. And I guess another reference could also be like the metaphorical reference to struggles, because literature often involves analyzing conflict and struggle and personal growth, which can somewhat be compared to the challenges faced in sports. So the last skill that you need, but maybe also the most intuitive, is creativity. And you need 5 of those. And I think that it's quite obviously a reference to the artistic and imaginative aspects of literature, even if creativity isn't always the first skill people associate with academic studies. But the most obvious reference is that writing, whether it's poetry or short stories or whatever, requires a great deal of creativity. And creative thinking is also needed when you're coming up with new interpretations of already existing works. But all in all, literature is a result of a creative process, and in that regard I think it makes really good sense that a major in literature will need full creativity skills. But that's it. Now you graduated. Now you know what it takes to do a major in literature. So please let me know in the comments if you noticed anything in here that I missed. And also please let me know which major was your favorite to do in The Sims 2. But that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and stay tuned for other videos. Bye!